Your numbers tell a story. You are the captain of your sailboat, of your business. And you need to look at those numbers and analyze what they mean and help set a course in the direction that you want your business to go. More is not always better. Better is better.
Welcome to Girls Make Bank, the podcast show for women who want to learn the art of selling for business and for life. I'm Jack White, seasoned sales professional, entrepreneur, and owner of Honeybees Group. Come back each week to hear inspiring stories from some of our favorite business owners, learn how to take the ache out of selling, and make bank. We're all in this together, so let's get started. Welcome back to Girls Make Bank. This is part 2 of our special quarterly review series. So if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, hit pause and go back and check that one out first. In the first episode, we covered big picture goal-setting frameworks. We unpacked the cornerstone of your business health, which is your revenue and your profit. And now in part 2, we're moving forward to look at the rest of your core business metrics. Things like lead generation, client retention, marketing performance, and time management. These numbers tell you exactly how to move the needle, where to spend your time, and where your energy is best spent. From there, in this episode, we'll move into a full self-audit. What's working, what's not working, what needs to be dropped, and what you should double down on. And it'll also guide you through habits to introduce, like CEO days and metric tracking. This is the kind of episode you'll want to listen to with a notebook and a pen. So even if you are on the go ahead and listen, but come back for a replay once you're in quarterly planning mode. It's dense, it's direct, and it's designed to help you make clear, confident decisions that grow your business and protect your energy. And hey, if you want more support, check out the Honeybees Sales Circle. The Sales Circle is a year-long membership where we learn how to grow our businesses, sell with confidence, and scale revenue and profit with intention. So if you are interested in learning about the Sales Circle, find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, send me a note through my website, honeybeesgroup.co. Until then, stick around for this amazing episode, part 2 of the quarterly review process. Key metric number 2 is lead generation and conversions. So this is really about, are people engaging with your offers and are they really buying? So what is that? What does lead generation mean? Well, it refers to how many new people are entering your world, whether it's an email list, social media, discovery calls, how many new people are coming into your business ecosystem that are potential buyers. Conversion is the percentage of those leads who actually become paying customers. And here's why those two things matter. If leads aren't coming in, your pipeline is drying up. If leads are coming in, but they're not converting, then there's a disconnect in your messaging, your offer, or your sales process. And you need to know pretty quickly if either of those two things are happening so that you can adjust it as fast as possible. So how do we evaluate leads and conversion rates? Number 1, I want you to look at where new leads are coming from. Are they coming from social media? Is there a specific channel like LinkedIn or Instagram where you're seeing these new leads from? Are they coming from your email list? Are they coming from referrals? Are they coming from your podcast? Where are the leads coming from? The second number I want you to look at here is your conversion rate. Here's how you figure out your conversion rate. Let's say you have 100 people who sign up to get your freebie or to join your free live workshop. 2 bought your offer. And that might feel like a pretty small number to you where you're like, 100 people showed up, only 2 people bought. That means you have a 2% conversion rate, right?
2% of 100 is 2 people. So, is that healthy for your industry? Okay. You have to make that determination. I'm not sure. It's specific for each industry. Is that healthy for your industry? Is that typical for your business? Is that higher than low or lower than what you would usually get? And then I want you to map out, is that going to be enough to get you to your revenue and your profit goals, right? So figure out, we have our revenue projections, we have our profit goals. Is a 2% conversion rate high enough if we plug in all of our numbers to get us there? Okay. If it's not, we need to do some refiguring. We need to look at messaging. We need to look at positioning. We need to look at how many leads we're getting into our ecosystem. The third thing I want you to look at here is your lead sources and making sure that you have diverse lead sources. I think everyone should have at least 2 solid funnels in their business, 2 solid sales funnels, an email newsletter, and something else. When you rely on only one thing, let's say Instagram or word of mouth, it can be really risky, all right? You need to make sure you're building up enough lead sources within your business that if one thing has a hiccup or goes away, if your Instagram account is hacked, your leads don't go away too. You still have another mechanism to drive leads. Action step number 2, okay? What we're doing here is I want you to check where your last 5 to 10 paying clients came from, okay? Go back and take a look. Did they come from social media? Did they come from a referral? Did they come directly from your email mailing list? Identify your highest performing source of paying clients and double down on those efforts. Quarterly reviews are a great time to look at what is actually driving revenue in your business. What are your main lead sources? And lean into those sources intentionally in the next quarter. So that's action step number 2. The third thing I want you to look at during your quarterly review is client retention and churn. This is how many customers are returning versus how many customers are leaving. Now, again, this can be nuanced depending on your business. If you have a business that is monthly retainers, where you have the same clients month after month after month, you want to make sure that you have a really high client retention. Let's say you work on a product deliverable. It is a sprint and it is a specific moment in time where you work with clients. Obviously, you're not going to have the same level of retention. So be intentional about what this means for your business, okay? So what is client retention? What is churn in your clients? Client retention is the percentage of customers who continue to buy from you or renew your service. So this is the monthly people. They come back month after month. They're renewing contract after contract. On the opposite side, the churn rate is the percentage of clients who stop working with you or cancel their subscription. So why is this information important to look at? It is so, so, so important to look at this. Here's why. It is at least 5 times cheaper to retain a current customer than it is to acquire a new one. Now, you may be thinking, Jack, I don't pay for my customers. That might be true. So then it's 5 times less effort to retain a current customer than it is to acquire a new one, okay? Money and time are our biggest commodities. And so if you can keep your same customers over and over and over, that is a great business to be in. We want as little churn as possible. If customers are leaving after one purchase, that's a sign of misaligned expectations. There's a lack of post-sale nurturing, or there's some sort of service gap. You need to really dig in there and find out what is going on. So how should we be evaluating client retention? Number 1, I want you to look at repeat customer rates. How many of your clients have worked with you more than once? If this applies, if you have a product or service that is renewable, this applies to you. If you design websites, like I said, this number is going to look different because people just don't need a website every month, right? Once it's done, that client is put to bed for a little while. But there are other metrics that you can look at, like referral rates, right? Try to figure out how many clients are being retained every month or referring other clients to you. Number two, I want you to review cancellation and drop off patterns. So, at what stages are clients leaving? And is there a common reason? If you do any kind of exit polling or boarding, that's a great question to ask people is what else could I be doing? Why are we ending this relationship? Okay. Try to dig into why people are canceling and why they're dropping off. The third thing I want you to do is assess the customer experience. So act as if you are hiring yourself. Do you have an onboarding, a follow up process, an offboarding process that keeps clients engaged in the experience of you delivering your product or service? So, the action step here is to send a quick feedback survey to recent clients asking about the service, why they've stayed, why they've left, what their expectations were, and how they were met, and what the best thing that they got out of working with you is. So, this is a great way to one, tell you what you need to improve, but also to get some potential testimonials and case studies. The fourth thing I want you to look at when you are doing a quarterly review is your marketing performance. So, which platforms and strategies are driving growth? This is a little bit different than looking at your main lead sources, okay? Because your performance on marketing measures how well your content, your ads, your messaging are attracting and converting clients. So, this is very important because a lot of business owners spend so much time creating content, creating Instagram reels, creating emails, all kinds of marketing vehicles and tactics and ads and all the things that are actually not moving the needle. And so I want you to get incredibly honest with yourself about which marketing tactics are actually moving your business forward. Not the ones you like doing, not the ones that feel sexy, that you feel like you need to be there because that's where everyone is. So, for instance, if Instagram is taking you 5 hours a week to create and post, but you are not seeing any sales from Instagram, it is really time to reevaluate. Okay. So check your marketing channels and see where the leads are coming from and where the leads are that are converting are originating from. So, what should we be looking at here? Which platform is driving the most leads and sales? What type of content is performing best? Are people responding more to emails, reels, LinkedIn posts, podcast episodes? What type of content are they responding to most? And are your marketing efforts translating to revenue? So we all want the vanity metrics, more followers, likes, comments, engagements. Yes, that is important. But more followers doesn't always mean more sales. And so I want to make sure that you are tracking the right metrics here. So, the action step for tracking your performance marketing. Pick your top performing marketing channels from last quarter. Double down on it. If a platform isn't working, I want you to pause it for a month. That might sound scary, but I want you to see if you notice a difference in leads. Because sometimes, and this is where knowing your numbers but trusting your gut becomes important, pause it for a month and see if you notice a difference in leads. A lot of times when people are doing research, they're looking at different platforms. They're going to LinkedIn, Instagram, they're checking out your website. So they might be converting in one place, but being influenced by other places. So if you know it's working, double down. If it's not working, pause it and see if you notice a difference. Number 5. This is the one most of us struggle the most with. This is the one I struggle the most with, and that is time management. The other 4 things that you are tracking on your quarterly review are pretty cut and dry. Time management, at least for me, is the hardest to track and the most detrimental to my business. What is eating up your time, and is it worth it? Especially when you are at the beginning stages of your business, when you are doing all of the things and maybe you don't have a team or you don't have the money to invest in support. It is very important to track how you are spending your time each week to determine if those activities are actually driving growth, driving revenue, and driving profits. Why does this matter? Especially when you are in the early stages or when you are in a hyper growth situation, you have to be incredibly ruthless, essentially, with your time. You can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. And I have fallen prey to this, and I know so many small business owners who spend too much time on low impact tasks and activities instead of revenue generating activities. Now, I know this is tough because when you are a business owner and you are a solopreneur, you are doing all of the things, okay? But I want you to track each week how you are spending your time. How much time are you spending on sales? How much time are you spending on marketing? How much time are you spending on administrative duties, bookkeeping, contract sending, right? Invoicing, whatever that stuff might be. How much time are you spending on content creation? Then I want you to tie those tasks directly to revenue. How much revenue do you make from sales? How much revenue are you making from that administrative stuff? How much revenue are you making from the content creation? And I want you to think about, where can you delegate things and where can you eliminate things? I want you to extract yourself from the low impact tasks that are sucking your time and not driving revenue. And I want you to find someone who can do those tasks for you. Or I want you to actually think about if those tasks even need to get done in your business, because a lot of times we create work for ourselves that nobody will notice if it doesn't happen. Now, I think outsourcing low impact tasks, low level tasks, is the best money you can spend. Hire a virtual assistant, hire someone who can do these things for you. I know it is scary when you are maybe not making that much money to make an investment, but if you can take that time and put it back into those activities that are revenue producing, like sales and lead generation, it will come back to you in tenfold. I promise. The action step here is to identify one task from last quarter that took up too much time and did not produce revenue results. I want you to either automate it, outsource it, or stop doing it. Hold yourself to that. This is the easiest one to slip up on, is time management. Because either we think we can't afford to hire someone, we think we have to do all the things, or we think nobody can do it like us. So I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on the time management. Now, every successful business owner has one thing in common, and that is that they know their numbers. They do not guess. They don't make decisions based on what feels right. They make decisions based on data. They adjust their strategy and they move forward with clarity. So I want you to go through these 5 numbers in your business Be honest about what's working and be honest about what's not working. The more you track, the more control you have over your growth. So let's review what these 5 things are one more time. The first thing is the revenue and profit. Run through your P&L every single quarter. The second thing is lead generation and conversions. How many people do you have coming into your pipeline? And then how many people are actually making a purchase? The third thing you are tracking is client retention and churn. How many people are returning every month and how many people are leaving prematurely, perhaps? The fourth thing you are going to track is your marketing performance. Which platforms and strategies are actually driving growth? Number 5, which is the hardest one for me and for a lot of the women that I know, is time management. What is eating up your time and is it worth it? I want you to track everything you do in your business and see if you can tie it back to revenue or growth. And if you can't, you're either going to eliminate it, outsource it, or delegate. Now, I want you to think about 3 reflection questions as you do your quarterly review, because it's not all spreadsheets and data, okay? There's some soft stuff in here as well. And the first one is, what was your biggest win? What was your biggest win in the last quarter? Acknowledging your wins helps you see and appreciate what is working well in your business and what you should do more of. We all need to take the time to celebrate the wins. It boosts morale, it boosts motivation, and all of the tiny actions that you're taking are adding up and you are finally making progress. And that's something to celebrate. So, how do you identify your wins? Did you hit or surpass your financial goal this quarter? Did you acquire new quality clients? Did you receive positive feedback, a testimonial, a referral? Did you get really strong engagement on a piece of content? Did you implement a process or a system in your business that streamlined things or made it easy for your clients to onboard? The second thing I want you to ask yourself as you're doing a quarterly review is, what isn't working in your business and why? So it's not just what isn't working, but why isn't it working? And so you need to look at what isn't working in your business. So identify what's draining your time, what's draining your energy, what's draining your money. It's just as important to recognize what isn't working as it is to recognize and celebrate the wins. And by removing those underperforming elements of your business, you are going to free up time and resources to double down on the things that aren't working. So we talked about this before. Are you spending 5 hours on Instagram each week and not generating any leads? Did you launch an offer that basically flopped? What could you have done different? And what do you do different the next time you launch that offer? Are there certain business expenses that are just like eating profits and they're not driving any ROI? What are those hidden expenses that you can eliminate? And do you find yourself repeating the same manual tasks over and over and over? Find a system, find an automation that you can implement in your business to get that precious time back. Right now, there are so many amazing automation tools that I want you to think about all of the different ways you can save yourself time in your business that you can then transfer to growing your business, doing sales activities, whatever else it might be. And then the third thing I want you to think about is, if you could start the quarter over, what would you do differently? The thing about doing a quarterly review, and I love this question because we get to ask it to ourselves pretty often every 3 months, is, what did I do that I would not do again? What mistakes did I make that I can avoid? And how can I optimize the next quarter? If you missed a financial goal, what can you do differently this quarter? If an offer didn't sell, dissect why. Would you do pricing differently? Would you do positioning differently? Did you not give yourself enough lead time on marketing? I think we severely underestimate how much time it takes to launch an offer into the universe. Did you overextend yourself? Okay. Are you not setting boundaries with yourself and your business? So I want you to think about, if you could start this quarter over, what would you do differently? So, how do you put this into action? How do you take all of this information and actually map a path forward in your business? I want you to think about making adjustments to your business and not abandoning things in your business. Often we give up way, way too soon without giving things enough time, effort, or strategy to really give them a shot at making it work. I see this happen all the time when people are trying to grow their sales pipelines. They post on Instagram for 2 weeks and they say, oh, it didn't work. Instagram doesn't work for me. Or they send 3 emails to an email newsletter that they haven't warmed up and they say, oh, nobody wants to buy from me through email. I want you to think about making adjustments in your business. It's taken a long time for you to build your company, to build your brand, to build your offers. Before you just abandon it, I want you to think about, what can you do better next time? Listen, this is an evolution. We are growing our business. That doesn't happen overnight, no matter what it might look like from the outside with other people who are, overnight sensations. It's hardly ever that. And so the final takeaway here is, I want you to look at what's working and what's not working, and how should your business evolve every quarter. The final step I always include in my quarterly planning is around habits, adding in new habits into my business and removing habits that aren't working. Because business growth for me is not just about adding more. I only have like a finite capacity in my business. It's about subtracting the things that are holding us back. So, a lot of times we think that success and money comes from doing more and more and more products, more content, more hustle. I often think that the key to success is simplification, refining, adjusting, and doing less, but doing it better. And so this is why I want you to look at your quarterly review as a chance to sit down in your business and take an honest, in-depth look at what is going on, what is working, what is not working, and what you need to adjust. This can sometimes be a painful, uncomfortable, honest conversation that you have to have with yourself. But if you are serious about growing your business and you are serious about growing your revenue and your profits, it's a necessary step. So, one new habit I want you to introduce, if you don't already do it, is to make time for a CEO day. And this is where you are not focusing on execution, you are only focusing on strategy. It is dedicated time, either weekly, monthly, definitely quarterly, where you get to step out of the day-to-day and focus on big picture strategy. This is where you get to take all of that data from your quarterly review and say, okay, how do I improve on what I have here? Because when you are running a small business, when you have a very lean team, when you are focused on delivering your service or your product, you get caught up in the work and the day to day, and you get in a certain kind of zone. And I want you to step out of that zone and think very high level about your business. And so block out, to start, maybe 1 hour a week on your calendar for a CEO check-in. Use this time to assess your progress, adjust your strategy, look at one particular area of your business and plan ahead. And then you can have one day out of the month that you do that, or one day out of the quarter where you're really looking at long-term strategy work. Okay, take a deep breath. This has been a lot of information, but it is really important. I cannot stress how important it is to do a quarterly review in your business. Your numbers tell a story. You are the captain of your sailboat, of your business. And you need to look at those numbers and analyze what they mean and help set a course in the direction that you want your business to go. Now, more is not always better. Better is better. So don't be afraid to leave things behind that are not working in your business and to double down on those things that are getting clients through the door, that are driving profitability in your business. One thing that I want you to focus on this week and as you do your quarterly reviews, I don't want you to think about just adding things into the mix. I want you to think about refining, evaluating, and adjusting. Think about that sailboat analogy. It's minor adjustments in the direction that you're going that set you on the right path. So every quarter, focus on leaning into what's working and let go of what's not working. All right. So here's your action item. Schedule a CEO day this week or this month and go through your quarterly review. If you want help doing this is the exact kind of thing that we do inside of the Honeybee Sales Circle each quarter. You don't have to do this alone. I know that running a business is hard. It is lonely work. And the Honeybee Sales Circle is a fantastic group of women who are learning how to sell and grow their businesses together. So I invite you to apply to Honeybee Sales Circle. Our next cohort is kicking off April 22nd, and then we're going to be on a wait list for a little while. So if you've missed the April 22nd cutoff, sign up for the wait list because we are going to be slowly letting people in. This is the kind of stuff that really moves the needle in your business. Tracking your numbers, doing quarterly reviews. And I want to make sure that you are building a long-term sustainable business. This has been a lot of information. If you have found this helpful, I want you to tag me on LinkedIn or Instagram, create a post, leave a comment or a review for this episode. It really helps other people find us, and let me know how your CEO quarterly review day went and what was most helpful for you on this episode. I can't wait to see you back next time. Keep making bank and track your numbers like the CEO you are.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Make Bank. If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe, like, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Please review and share our show to help spread the word and help your girls make bank. And I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or visit honeybeesgroup.co. Until next time, friends.